Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Bondi with the Mackinac Center for Public Policy. Joining me now is Jamie Hope, the Assistant Managing Editor with Michigan Capital Confidential. How are you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. How are you doing?
Very good. And we are going to be talking about an issue that you have delved in depth about New Buffalo, Michigan, short-term rentals. It's a big issue, not only for that area, but across Michigan. Tell us what in specific you have been looking into most recently.
This has been going on for several years. So what happened is New Buffalo is it's on the southwest corner of Michigan, and it attracts a lot of the Chicago residents. They come here during the summers. So a lot of people own short-term rental properties as investment properties in New Buffalo because they just have such a great summer tourism. So what happened was they had somebody who ran for office as mayor and won. The premise was we're going to ban short-term rentals. There was a lot of blowback from that, obviously from rental owners. It became a big fight. It's been going on for a couple of years. It did end up happening where they severely limit now the short-term rentals that they can have. They have to get a permit. But in the meantime, yes, it was very detrimental to the businesses there. There was a lot of blowback from that. And we're here today to tell people before you invest in a short term rental property in Michigan, there's some things you probably want to know before you do.
And you even told, we were talking earlier yesterday, you had a story about someone who had purchased one and had no idea what was going on in this community over there. That's really sad for that person.
Yes. So there is a military veteran and his wife who live in California. Her family is from Michigan. So they were looking for an investment property that they could come and stay at when they visited family over the summer. But in order to be able to afford that, they wanted to be able to rent it out the times that they were not there. So they did their due diligence. They were aware this could be an issue. They went and talked to their realtor who said, "Oh, it's not a problem. It's allowed here." The realtor understood this to be the case too. In fact, the realtor also had a short term rental property. The couple buys a property, invests pretty much all of their savings into it to get it up to par to be able to rent it out. And shortly later, they found out that there actually was an ordinance that had been on the books, a zoning ordinance from the 1970s that had just never been enforced. People started complaining about the short-term rentals, and next thing you know, just recently, within the last, I believe, 6 months, their local government decided to completely ban short-term rentals by enforcing that ordinance that was already on the books. So people who own short-term rentals, they're out of luck.
Now, one article, your article that I've had on the screen here, you wrote property owner criticized restrictions on short-term rentals. Mayor had police haul her out of city council meeting. That actually happened.
Yes, that actually happened, and that was in New Buffalo. The mayor that was the one that was spearheading this movement to ban. Originally, he wanted to just ban short-term rentals. They actually talked about wanting to purposely um, lower property values, and which is insane to think that you would say that out loud. But their point was so that residents would be able to afford property there. But that does hurt a lot of people. Their investments are their properties. So one of the women, Laura Murray, she owned a short-term rental. She started being an outspoken rental owner opposed to what they were trying to do. She went and showed up to a city council meeting. She did not yell. She did not threaten. We have a video of it, and you can find that on CapCon. And we have several stories on this. And the mayor singled her out and had the police remove her from the meeting. When they did that, she said they violated her First Amendment rights. And so she filed a federal lawsuit, and she actually just recently won that lawsuit.
Wow, that is great news as well. And I want to remind everyone is watching MichiganCapitalConfidential.com, everything there. And you can also follow us on Twitter, on Facebook. One last thing you were saying, and this is not just an issue for this community, but across the state of Michigan, what do people need to know if they are looking to have a short-term rental? I'm assuming just ask lots of questions and learn from your reporting.
Yes, do your due diligence. Like I said, again, with the one couple from California, they actually thought they did, and they asked a lot more questions than many people know to ask. Again, they even asked their realtor, "Is this a safe place to be able to own a property and be able to rent it?" And even the realtor thought so. The problem is, again, there was this ordinance, the zoning ordinance that had been on the book since the 70s that nobody really knew about. So when you are getting ready to potentially invest in Michigan in a short term rental property, I would check zoning laws. I would contact the city council or anybody, city manager, anybody who you think would have that information. Get it on record, try to get it in writing, maybe an email, just so you have a paper trail should this come back. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't come back later and do the same thing New Buffalo did and
Yeah.
decide to limit or require permits or have a lottery system to say, hey, we're only going to allow this many short term rental properties. So there is always going to be some risk there. But you can at least limit that more by doing your research and ensuring you have that information.
Lots of useful information. Jamie Hope, I appreciate you joining us very much. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it.